Okay, class. Now, what we're going to do, now that we've talked about the exchange of messages and how important it is to be accurate, to be give it 100% truth in all the details. Um, Now we're going to talk about uh, what are the different ways that we can uh, leave messages. And so we're going to go to the board and we're going to, I want you to take just a minute and let's think for just a minute. What kind of messages would you want to leave with someone? Um, and I'll let you think about that. Okay, now think about that for just a minute. Okay, now let's go to the board. Everybody's going to go to the board and write a message that you might want to leave, just so that we get some ideas. Okay, that happens. Um, all right, now you are going to call someone on the phone. You're not going to be able to speak to that person because they're not available to speak to you right now. So you're going to have to leave a message either with someone who's going to ask you some questions, or maybe even just on an answering machine. You might have an answering machine and they'll say, please, this person is not available, please leave a message. So you're going to think about what are you going to, what's involved in that message? What would you want to tell them? Um, if you're the caller, let's say we've got two roles. We've got a caller role, we've got a receiver role. And if you're the caller, think about what information would you need to give the other person in a message. If you're receiving the message, what do you need to know? So some of the things that okay, the class is going to respond, and we'll write these on the board. Um, Possible responses are: who's calling? What do they need? What do you need? If you're calling someone, what do you need to let them know? Um, when if there's an event that you need to invite someone to, when is that going to happen? Or um, when are you not going to be at work that day? If something comes up and you can't be at work, there's an emergency, when is that going to happen? When will you not be available? What day? What time? Um, if you have an invitation that you want to extend to someone to come somewhere, where is it? Where is it? Um, okay, if the person has questions, if you're like, say you're on an answering machine and the person has questions, how can they reach you to ask further questions? So what's your phone number? Can you pronounce the numbers in your phone number? Do you know your phone number well enough to be able to do that? So let's think about those things. um, okay, so there are some things that are necessary to take and receive messages. One thing is you need to be accurate. You need to know um, what exactly you want to convey. You want to be able to make sure that that's absolutely right, that they get the right information. Um, the second thing is you need to speak clearly. Um, you want the other person to be able to understand what you're saying. Um, the next thing is knowing what information is most important. You don't need to tell all of the information about everything that's going to happen, but you need to be concise. Means you want to make sure that you have the most important information that you're giving to them. Um, you need to listen carefully, not only as a receiver of a message. You need to listen carefully to find what the information is, because you're going to write this down. But you need to listen as a caller. You need to listen to the questions that the receiver has, that is going to you're going to answer to take care of that. Um, and the last thing is, if you are a receiver, if you are getting information and you're not quite sure what it is that they're talking about, or um, you need more information about that certain thing, about the day, the time, the um, the person, how How do you need to how do we they need to know who you are? So can you give some more information about who you are or whatever so that can they can know more information. So that's called asking clarifying questions. You want to make it more clear. Clarify means to more clear. You want the information to be more clear. Okay, so those are some of the things. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to sit back to back. We're going to pretend that we're on the phone with someone else, and this sitting back to back will make it so that you only listen. You can't see what the other person is saying. They can't gesture to you. You have to give information verbally. You have to listen carefully and understand. Okay, let's get to work.